So in this devlog, I'm gonna add bosses to my game. But first, let's talk about some game design. If you didn't know, all units in the game are split into 3 factions: Spectral, Inferno, and Holy. Now these factions affect more than just the color and appearance of units. You see, each faction has their own specific archetype, which the enemies will offer different challenges, and each summoner will have their own distinct playstyle. Let's go into each of the factions, starting off with Spectral. They are the creatures with a medieval theme, and they all carry some sort of mask to hide their face with. Their gameplay is focused on positioning, mana manipulation, and even turn manipulation. For example, the Wanderer knocks back enemies, while the Ronin deals extra damage while there are no adjacent allies or enemies. Next, we have the Infernos. They are the demonic creatures with horns that believe that only the strongest will survive. Their archetypes are swarming, sacrificing their own units, and snowballing. For example, the Imp marks enemies, which allows subsequent attacks to deal more damage. Oh, and it stacks. And when they die, they even buff the remaining allies' attack. Lastly, we have the Holy. They are the creatures with halos that are trying to bring back their god and save their souls. They are the antithesis of the Infernos, with the archetype focusing on defensive abilities, attrition, and terrain manipulation. They tend to outlast their opponents and take them down using attrition rather than raw power. For example, the Cyclops is able to consecrate the ground, giving armor buffs to allies, while Gemini deals additional attrition damage on attacking and gains extra attack for each attrition the target has. So with that in mind, let's bring in the bosses. We have the Warchief, Prophet, and the Magistrate. So I want to design these bosses to have abilities that fit the theme of their factions. And since they're also the first bosses, I want them to be a test of the player's understanding of the mechanics of the game. Here's the first boss, the Magistrates. They are a double boss, where you have to face 2 of them. I want them to test the player's positioning skills in line with the Spectral archetype, so they have 2 abilities. Decree, which grants them a buff for every unit within a straight line of them, and the other, Warp Blast, which deals 5 damage to any enemy standing on their diagonals. With 2 of them in play, you have to move your units in such a strategic manner to not get caught in the path of these abilities. Next, we have the Warchief. In line with the aggressive nature of the Infernos, I want this battle to be sort of a rushdown boss, so we have to kill the boss before he gets too powerful to kill. The Warchief will have 2 abilities that will allow it to scale during the battle. First is Commanding, which gives an attack buff to an ally within 2 range, and the next, more importantly, Reinforce, which spawns an Imp at the start of every turn. If you remember, when this Imp dies, it gives other units +1 attack, so you can't let the Warchief spawn too many of them. And lastly, we have the Prophet. I wanted the Prophet to be a test of the player's skill to prioritize targets. So as such, he has 2 abilities. The first is Prophecy, which gives this little eye of the Prophet to 3 allies every turn. If you fail to kill one of these units, they will gain a large buff on the next turn. And the other is Angelic, which grants the Prophet additional armor while its allies are still alive. So what do you think about the abilities of these bosses? With the upgrades, enemies, and bosses in the game, right now I'm making a huge push to release a demo of the game, which will be out this month. You'll be able to play as a Spectral Summoner and try to beat the first level, the Outskirts. You only have 1000 mana to clear 9 encounters and defeat the boss at the end. Along the way, make sure to conserve your mana and upgrade your units. So if you're excited, please do wishlist the game on Steam. That's all for today. Thank you.